In the good old summertime, strolling down the shady lane with that gal of mine. Ha ha ha! Remember that old tune? That goes way back, way back. My name's Mishki. Yeah, that goes back to the early part of the 20th century. You hold her hand and she holds yours, and that's a very good sign that she's your Tootsie Wootsy in the good old summertime. I guess in the summertime, ideally what you want to have is some kind of, Tootsie Wootsy. I think a good pickup line if you're in a bar somewhere in a big city in America is to just say, "Wanna be my Tootsie Wootsy? Wanna be my Tootsie Wootsy? I'm insane!" You know, if that certain someone bites at that line, they'll probably be good for the long haul. Try it out. What do you got to lose? Wanna be my Tootsie Wootsy? I'm insane! A new pickup line courtesy of Mishki, one you haven't perhaps tried, but maybe should. Looking for a Tootsie Wootsy in here somewhere? Anybody? There aren't enough insane people walking into bars trying to pick up folks. I miss those days. Years ago, you could count on 3 per bar on a Saturday night, at least in the big town. You know what the lyrics were to In the Good Old Summertime? There's a time each year that we always hold dear, good old summertime, with the birds and the trees and the sweet-scented breeze, good old summertime. When your day's work is over, then you are in clover, and life is one beautiful rhyme. No troubles annoying, each one is enjoying the good old summertime. Oh boy, what a lovely song. To swim in the pool, you'd play hooky from school. Good old summertime. You'd play Ring Around the Rosie with Jim, Kate, and Josie. Good old summertime. Those days full of pleasure we now fondly treasure, when we never thought it a crime to go stealing cherries with our skin brown as berries in the good old summertime. Everybody, in the good old summertime, in the good old summertime. Strolling down the shady lane with that gal of mine. You hold her hand, she holds yours. That's a pretty good sign that she's your Tootsie Wootsy. Does she know you're out of your mind? Summertime. Summertime, 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 summertime. Well, it's summertime, and the living is easy. The fish are jumping, the cotton's high, your pop's rich, your ma's sexier than all get out, so hush, little baby, don't you cry. But we're missing something this summer, according to what I've been reading in the news. This is a headline from the Wall Street Journal. It's not just you. There are no good new songs this summer. The old hits from 2024 and 2023 continue to rule the charts. No new songs are becoming the summer songs of 2025. The first year anybody can remember that happening. Ouch. Boy, I feel sorry for you young folks who expect a summer song to come along. One to help you remember this one. Especially if this one turns out to be the summer when you really came of age. You met that special someone. You had that magical run before the leaves started to turn and it all went to hell. Or she flew back to Australia. Or he realized he was gay. Or she decided to collect her books, get on back to school, while he stole his daddy's cue and made a living playing pool. Or somebody found a rock and roll band that needed a helping hand. Or Maggie went back to the farm. I don't know, but during the summer it was magical. And there was that song that went along with it. What was that song, honey? Oh, that's right. We didn't get a song. The summer of 2025 did us wrong. A song never came along. How is that possible? Summer lovin' had me a blast. Summer lovin' happened so fast. There need to be songs. What did the Grateful Dead sing in Ripple? Let there be songs to fill the air. But where? Where are they? Here's what they say is behind this. The impulse to continue looping old songs, old favorites, is being strengthened by the fact that consumers are, quote, drowning in a sea of new media of all kinds. There's just too much to take in across the board, across all media. It's too much. We can't keep taking in new things. Slow it down out there. The president of contemporary hit radio programming at iHeartMedia said, in music alone right now, an average of 99,000 new tracks are delivered to streaming platforms every day. What? What? He says people don't know where to go, what to listen to. There's too much, so they cling to things they're already familiar with, treating a handful of mega hits like precious life preservers. Whoa. You know, I think back to 1965, where were you? Were you listening to Sugar Pie Honey Bunch by the Four Tops? I Got You Babe by Sonny and Cher? Or 68, was it Grazing in the Grass? Stoned Soul Picnic? Was it Born to Be Wild? 72, was it Brandy, You're a Fine Girl? Or Lean on Me by Bill Withers? Or Too Late to Turn Back Now, Cornelius Brothers and Sister Rose? Or Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress? How about 73, Will It Go Round in Circles? Remember that one? Or Let's Get It On by Marvin Gaye? 1983, Sweet Dreams, The Eurythmics, Maniac, Electric Avenue, She Works Hard for the Money, Donna Summer, 83, She Works Hard for the Money. How about 2012? We won't go so far back. 2012, Titanium. Or the song, Just Somebody That I Used to Know. 2019, few years ago, it was Old Town Road. The question you have to ask yourselves is it summer when there isn't a summer song? Perhaps we should write a summer song together right now. All of us together. Let's write a summer song and squeeze it in while it's still summer. We'll have to steal from different artists. I think we're going to have to steal. Just a little bit here and there. Take some from this song, some from that song. Lyrics mostly. Summer lyrics. Selena Gomez, for instance, she's got that lyric, the heat is blazing like the 4th of July. I got the air con on and it's blasting high, so just grab something cool and jump in your ride. Pick up everybody, I'll be waiting outside. That's the vibe we're going for, see? We'll steal part of that. Zach Brown writes, I got my toes in the water, ass in the sand, not a worry in the world, cold beer in my hand. Zach, we're going to steal that. And then we'll shoot over to Fifth Harmony and just take that line, no stress, baby, you can find us, getting down on a beach in Dubai, poolside sipping on a Mai Tai. Or we'll steal from Mongo Jerry. Mongo Jerry. We'll take his line, you can stretch right up and touch the sky. When the weather's fine, you got women on your mind. Thanks, Jer. We'll get a summer song going right now, right here. You guys all ready? Let's put it together. Let's throw it together. What do we have? The heat is blazing like the 4th of July. I got the air con on, blasting high. So just grab something cool and jump in your ride. Pick up everybody. I'll be waiting outside. Toes in the water, ass in the sand. Not a worry in the world. Cold beer in my hand. Maybe on a beach there in Dubai. Maybe sipping on a cold Mai Tai. Maybe stretching up and touching the sky. Either way, with women on my mind. In the summertime when the weather is hot, you can write a hit song or you cannot. 2025 never came alive. Not in a song, summer took a dive. No one wrote and no one played. No radios were blasting in the shade. Try to walk barefoot, you got a splinter. Try to write a summer song, it just came out winter. Try to pick up a girl, you just got spurned. Try to lie in the sun, you just got burned. It was the season to feel the summer breeze, the season to put your mind at ease, the season to picnic, wine, and cheese, but all you got was Lyme's disease. The whole damn season just went wrong, 'cause it never had a summer song. And that's gonna make the winter seem so long. All right, quick break, then we're going to be back. Back. Let's talk about accidents, because let's face it, you've had one or you will. 1 minute you're minding your own business, and the next, a rogue lawnmower flings a rock right into your face. Bam! Smacko! Pow! Suddenly you're acquainted with the grass in a way you never have been before. Now what do? You could just deal with it, walking around with your face all messed up, feeling sorry for yourself, medical bills stacking up like an unsorted pile of coupons that you'll never use. Or you could call Bradshaw and Bryant, my law firm. They're not your typical law firm. They don't just handle your case. They take it, they own it, they turn it into a story where the villain is the insurance company and the hero, Bradshaw and Bryant. Learn more at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. It's an ever-changing world when it comes to plumbing, when it comes to home heating, when it comes to air conditioning. It's ever-changing, with advancements coming by the season sometimes. How up-to-date, really, is your residential plumbing, heating, and cooling company? Are they operating like it's still 2005 when it's 2025? It takes effort to stay on top, constant education. I know only one company in the Twin Cities, one, that I can rely on to wake me to the things I didn't even know were possible these days. That saved me an enormous amount of money, saved me an enormous number of headaches. 3 letters to remember, MSP. Can you remember MSP? Stands for Minneapolis, St. Paul. Long before I got into this gig, or my last gig, I was going with MSP and MSP only. It's all you need to remember for heating or cooling your home, or for taking on every plumbing headache you can imagine. Get educated, save yourself money, talk to the people at MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Recently, a 29-year-old Google software engineer was doing one of the things she loved most of all, hiking in Yosemite National Park. She had been admiring giant sequoias along the paved trail just a mile from the parking lot, when suddenly a branch fell from high above and crushed her. You're 29. You're hiking in Yosemite, along the trail, a mile from the parking lot, enjoying the view of the sequoias, when one of them decides to drop a branch. Boom, you're gone. Over, done, finished. Do you ever worry about sharks? More people are killed by falling tree limbs every year than by sharks. Do you worry about lightning? More people are killed by falling tree limbs than are killed by lightning each year. Nevertheless, it is important to state that the odds of a tree branch falling and killing you is 1 in 10 billion. That's 1 in 10 billion. Our 29-year-old Google software engineer just wanted to go on a walk. Random death, you came for me. You picked me out haphazardly. Must have been feeling a bit carefree, taking out folks willy-nilly. It seemed like such a pleasant morning. Then out of nowhere, without warning, you swatted me like I was a gnat. I just want to say, hey, thanks for that. I thought I would die somewhere around 80. Guess I'm not that lucky, lady. I picked the wrong day to take a stroll. You were out looking for someone to roll. Which poet said, I shall never see a thing as lovely as a tree? I'd like to find him and take his pen and shove it where the sunlight has never been. You know, I did a little research into limbs falling on people just randomly, people outdoors, minding their own business. I came across a lot of women who've been killed by tree branches. South Carolina here, last year, 5 p.m., woman walking down the street, hit by a falling tree limb, 5 in the afternoon, residential street. Folks ran up to her, tried CPR, couldn't get a pulse. She was pronounced dead at the hospital. Here's Jennifer, 44 years old, killed when a tree limb fell on her while she was at Slide Hill Park, Sacramento, California. The branch fell 40 feet from the air, weighed about 100 pounds, middle of the afternoon. Said the head of the Urban Forestry Division in Sacramento, what happened with this woman is a phenomenon known as sudden limb drop. Sudden limb drop. That's the formal term for it. An 11-year-old kid came up with that, and they said, that's perfect, we'll call it that. Sudden limb drop. Well, a lot of people out there have been victims of sudden limb drop. I don't care if the odds are 10 billion to 1. A lot of people are taking a tree limb to the noggin. There's a whole Reddit conversation on this, where people weigh in and say, well, if a tree branch hits you in the head and it just kind of dropped randomly, you're probably dealing with an Australian gum tree. Yeah, those things are called the widowmakers. Someone else argues, no, the widowmakers are the Bradford pear trees. They'll drop a branch, boom, you're gone. I've been learning a lot about this stuff. Give a listen to some of these news reports. Each one is a different person dying from a tree limb falling on them randomly when they're just out enjoying their day. No storm, no winds. Bye-bye.
Family and friends are mourning the death of a 76-year-old Montreal woman after she was killed by a falling tree branch while waiting for a bus in Côte Saint-Luc.
A 61-year-old woman has died after she was struck by a falling tree.
A large tree branch falls on a woman and kills her.
A former Central Bucks School District employee died from blunt force trauma after a tree hit her yesterday afternoon. She was found near the 1700 block of Valerie Lane.
A Meadowlands woman is dead after being hit in the chest by a tree branch. She was taken to a hospital where she later died.
An 80-year-old woman was killed in Perry after a tree branch fell and hit her.
You can see this massive branch here. That branch fell on the woman as she was walking her dog.
Are these all women? Don't we have any guys?
First at 5, a bizarre and tragic accident has police in Brown Deer investigating the death of a man killed by a falling tree limb.
Winds don't appear to be a factor in this.
What happened back here was sadly a case of standing in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Sad story tonight out of the North County. We're learning that a 54-year-old man was killed this afternoon when he was struck by a falling branch from a large eucalyptus tree. This happened in Valley Center. Now, the victim was out for a walk just after 4:30 on Oak Glen Road near Debbie Lane. Sheriff's deputies and firefighters rushed in to help, but unfortunately he died at the scene.
Next time you hear of the death of someone and you say, if only they'd have taken better care of themselves. Next time you hear of the death of someone where you say, if only they hadn't been out on that dark country road so late at night. Next time you learn of the death of someone and say, if only he or she had been wearing a helmet. Just realize, death is just a thing that comes along. It comes and it finds us and it taps us on the shoulder and it says, you're next, camper. Some people climb the sheer rock face of El Capitan in Yosemite without a rope, without a net. They live to laugh and tell the tale. Some people walk their dog and get taken out with a tree branch. Life is absurd. Aeschylus, the famous Greek playwright, was killed when an eagle dropped a tortoise on his head. Bye-bye. Alan Pinkerton, the founder of the Pinkerton Detective Agency, he slipped on a sidewalk, bit his tongue, and he got a fatal infection in the tongue. Hans Steininger died after tripping over his own beard. He had a really long beard. He tripped over it, fell down, hit his head on a rock. So long. Isadora Duncan, the famous dancer, she died when her scarf got entangled in a car wheel. Strangled her. Bobby Leach survived Niagara Falls. He went over Niagara Falls in a barrel, but died later in life slipping on an orange peel and hitting his head. Here's a guy I found. Died in Barcelona, was found inside a dinosaur statue. He apparently had become trapped inside it while trying to retrieve his cell phone. I bet he was inside that dinosaur and felt the tap on his shoulder. It was death saying, "You're next. Leave the cell phone. Grab the cannoli." Little Godfather reference there, sorry. You folks out there going for a walk this summer, this fall, just remember there's a phenomenon known as, and this is the official term, sudden limb drop.
This is Joe.
Well, hello there, Joe. It's Mishke calling.
Hey, what's up, Tommy?
You tell me.
Well, I'm just hard at work here.
Hard at work? Come on.
So I run a courier business with my brothers and my dad. We run refrigerated vans and deliver food all over town.
Oh, so you're in the thick of it right now, probably on the road as we speak.
Actually, I'm parked right now. I drive, I supervise, I route, that kind of thing.
This is the first time you and I have spoken, is it not?
It is. You called me once and I couldn't grab it because I was chasing my 2-year-old around and I just couldn't find the time. But yeah, this is the first time we're talking.
Now, did the 2-year-old get away and into the loving arms of the social worker?
No, I got a hold of her.
Better luck to her next time. What's your favorite thing to do in this whole wide world? I mean, what truly is the thing that gives you more pleasure than anything else?
You know, that's kind of changed over time. I'm 40, I'm married, and right now I'm pretty much occupied by lawn care.
You didn't just say lawn care was at the top of the list.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I'd like to see your lawn. It must be something.
Well, I'm not super hardcore. There's guys who make their yards look like a putting green. I'm not that hardcore, but I just like good green turf. You know what I'm saying?
You take a lot of pleasure in making your lawn just so.
Yeah, it's just a fun challenge, and you kind of research things, what to use and what to do, and it's just kind of a fun little challenge.
Did you imagine yourself when you were 17 years old saying, "Boy, I'll tell you what a good day is, working on that lawn and sprucing it up, making it look just the way I want it"?
17? I don't think so.
I bet at 17 you thought life was going to offer more possibilities, and now you're saying, what more could anybody want? Look at that lawn. Where's the Scott's Company when you need them?
No doubt.
Does your wife ever talk to you about the lawn obsession?
You know, she would poke fun at me and give me crap about it, but I don't think she truly appreciates looking out the window and seeing nice grass instead of, a sea of weeds and crap. And who wants your kids running around in that,
Mine did all their lives. That's what the backyard was. Are you thinking I should have been visited by a social worker? Was I neglecting them in some way? Harmon Killebrew's old man said, "We're raising boys, not grass, honey."
Trust me, if they're out there playing and guffing it up, it's fine. I'll fix it.
You'll fix it later. Midnight, 2 a.m, getting it back to the way it was before they had their little ball game.
Just fluff it up a little bit, otherwise it'll bother me.
Your life is over, Joe. It's over. What happened to you? Where's that 17-year-old? We got to wake him up.
The 17-year-old's probably too busy beer drinking and cruising around.
But he was living. He was living.
This is living. I find this living. I got a brother who used to live in the city, and he moved out into a house, and now he's doing a lot of wrenching and lawn stuff. And my father-in-law, he quoted as to say he's finally living like a human, doing human stuff. I think that's pretty accurate.
Say that again.
I have an older brother who lived downtown Minneapolis, like in a high-rise, and did that whole thing, city living. But then he found a house, and now he's been wrenching on stuff. He's been working around the house, doing lawn stuff. My father-in-law said, hey, now he's living like a human being, like a true human being. Just putzing around the house, you know what I mean? Because there's always stuff to do around the home.
And now that he's putzing around, wrenching on stuff, doing things around the house, fixing things up, now he's kind of living like a human being.
Yeah.
And
instead of, riding bikes around the city and grabbing a bagel or something, who needs that?
Yeah, so he dumped the life of riding a bike around the city and having a bagel, and now he enjoys the good life, which is wrenching around the house. Do you ever sit around saying to yourself, just privately, well, this is as good as it's going to get? I mean, this is the top of the mountain for me.
Yeah. I'm happy with how it's going, and, hopefully it gets better and not worse.
Well, how can it get better? Give me one way it could possibly be better.
Good point.
Yeah.
It can't get better. That's the point, huh?
You're in your 40s, right?
Yeah. Just turned 40.
Oh, yeah. From here on out, life begins to take. It's been giving. It's been giving for a while, since you were a little kid. And it's coming up on time to take. And it'll do it slowly. Take a little here, take a little there. But try to hang on to what you can. Otherwise, it's coming for the rest of it. This business you have, how many hours do you figure this takes from you each week?
40-ish.
And when you're in the midst of it, are you saying, this job is pretty easy. I got it down. Pays well enough. Certainly allows me the kind of money I need to make myself a nice lawn. I'm a happy man.
Absolutely.
You should write a little book, or at the very least a pamphlet. How to be a happy guy.
I don't know if anyone will read it. Think it'd be that exciting for them?
Well, I think what they'd enjoy is that it's just a pamphlet. You could go through it quickly, go to the bathroom and have it next to the toilet and have people just go over it real quickly. And it would be something they could take with them, and they realize, I've been complicating my existence. Look at this man. Look at what brings him joy. I want that. I want that feeling for me. In the pamphlet, you would have the 3 steps to arrive at that sensation. And you could write the 3 steps. Get a good lawn, get a good job. I don't even think you need a third thing. There's 2. You're good at 2.
I've never been a blogger. It just sounds corny to me, but I can do a pamphlet.
A pamphlet?
I can get you a pamphlet by next Thursday. I'll have my 10-year-old contribute.
Let's only get the 10-year-olds take.
I like that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that for you.
I think the listeners are chomping at the bit to get at this, so the sooner the better. I appreciate this. Thanks for doing a little homework and delivering something we can use on the program.
Sure thing. I'll work on that.
All right, I'll let you get back to the job.
Thanks for calling, Tommy.
Yeah.
Nice talking to you, bud.
Great talking to you as well. So long. Here's the thing about retirement. It's that thing you think about sometimes, right? Like, one day I'll get to working on that retirement plan. But you don't get to it because, well, who's got the time? You got your 401k sitting there collecting dust. Maybe you got an IRA, maybe you don't. Who knows? What does it all even mean? But listen, here's where it gets good. You do want your retirement to work out for you, right? Because you don't want to be that person late in life trying to figure out how to buy beans with coupons. Get ready for the future, people. Learn how to retire. There's a guy who can help. His name's Josh Arnold. He's been doing this kind of work for 40 years. Josh will give you a free 48-minute consultation. He's not asking for your firstborn or some blood oath. No, just a chat. He'll look at your financial picture and he'll go, oh boy, we've got some work to do. Or maybe he'll say, hey, you're doing great. Either way, you'll know where you stand. So call Josh Arnold, 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. Tommy Mischke is a paid endorser.
This fella I know, Roger Pilla, had always been the type to hate traffic. He hated traffic more than anything in life. one afternoon, he decided to take me up on this suggestion, and he went to EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake. They're also in Burnsville. He gave their e-bike a try, noticing, as I had told him, that there was a big sale on e-bikes. His first ride, he told me, pure joy, his words. Pedaling was easy, but the real fun started when he just hit the throttle. He said he felt free and in control, and he told me he was actually enjoying running an errand. The little things, the fresh air, the quick bursts of speed, the feeling of gliding effortlessly up hills. That's what an e-bike can bring you. If you've ever wondered why people are jumping on the e-bike trend, go to EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake or Burnsville. Tell them I sent you. Find out how to make life more fun, easier, friendlier, more joyful. Get an e-bike from EcoFun Motorsports while their sale is on.
Yo, ding, flippin', what you call your hidey ho ski?
Yo, ding, flippin', what you call your whiz-bang, highfalutin, hidey ho-ski.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm well. Where am I finding you on this planet?
Burbank, California.
Burbank, California? Nothing happens there. I remember hearing Johnny Carson talk about Burbank, and he never made it sound very attractive. I believe that's where he shot The Tonight Show.
My apartment is just down the street from what used to be the NBC studios where he filmed the Carson show.
Right there in Burbank.
I once heard somebody say that LA is like 7 of the best cities in the world and 6 of the worst cities in the world, all kind of glommed together.
Now, having been to L.A., when you say that it has elements of the best cities in the world, I've not seen that.
Well, I personally actually really like where I live in Burbank. I moved out here because I got a job as a storyboard artist at Cartoon Network Studios, and I really like living in the city. It's basically the epicenter of the animation industry.
Well, say no more. You're in the perfect spot. And you got a job as a storyboard illustrator for a what?
Cartoon Network. I worked there for 3 years, and it was an amazing experience. And now I am currently freelancing and trying to find another position at a studio. And it is really rough out here.
What's the rough part?
Well, in the past few years, a lot of the studios have been canceling animation projects, and there's all this talk about AI taking over, and it's just hard to find more work right now. So I'm actually trying to find a regular day job to supplement my income. Well, I'm looking for an actual animation industry job again that I would like to continue working out here.
It's rough out there. But it sounds like when you were a storyboard guy for the Cartoon Network, you were in your element. You were in heaven. I mean, can anything get better than that for you?
I was a storyboard artist on this show that I really liked, and the only way it could probably get better than that is if I invented my own show.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably the next step up that I would like to shoot for in life, and I've been coming up with my own ideas for animated shows, and I want to pitch them to studios once I have everything prepared for them. But it's hard to prepare when I have to be out there trying to find day job work. My most recent job was being a delivery driver, and that company ended up getting bought off and dissolved.
I want to pass along to you the lyrics from a song written long ago. I believe Burt Bacharach wrote it, but Dionne Warwick made it a hit back in the late 60s. It's interesting to visit the lyrics now. L.A. is a great big freeway. Put 100 down and buy a car. In a week, maybe 2, they'll make you a star. But weeks turn into years, how quick they pass. And all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas. Boy, that could be written today. She goes on to sing, fame and fortune is a magnet. It can pull you far away from home with a dream in your heart. Dreams turn into dust, however, and they blow away. And there you are without a friend. You park your car and ride away. That's depressing as all get out. So the cartoon that you would like to create yourself, what would that be like? What do you have in mind?
I guess you could call it like a rom-com type of sitcom about these two adults that are dating, and each of them kind of represents a different half of my personality. Like the woman is kind of my more proactive, exuberant side of me, and then the guy is sort of anxious, a little more neurotic. So it's kind of like manic is dating depressive.
I don't want to be Freudian here, but is there something happening where you want two parts of yourself to make love? As a third part watches from the corner?
Definitely an astute observation. I think it's more about, I think there's a lot of people out there in the world who've forgotten how to love themselves just in general. And so it's like trying to have someone say, hey, you know, things aren't actually as bad as you think they are. Look on the bright side and just try to find some humor in the dichotomy of dealing with all of that.
This actually reminds me of a Whitney Houston song. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. What I'd like to do is have you alter the song. I want you to write, the greatest love of all is making love to yourself. And you found that inside yourself by introducing these two sides to one another and then watching in the corner as they had a moment of intimacy on a waterbed. What we have to do in this chaotic world, in this strange, miserable existence of ours that gets more complicated by the day, we have to learn to make love to ourselves while a third part watches. By the way, that would be a cartoon, right?
Well, yeah, kind of like for grown-ups, kind of Simpsons, Family Guy.
Oh, it's for grown-ups, all right. And I love NC-17 animation. You can have a lot more fun with the two parts of yourselves there in bed than you can if you have to get real people. You know, you probably have parents alive, right?
Oh, yes, my mom.
You tell her, Mom, it's a cartoon. Relax, it's a cartoon. I mean, anything can happen. I always thought they should do a cartoon of the Kennedy assassination. Well, I'm glad you put your name on the callers list. I knew I'd eventually get around to you. I eventually get around to everybody. I'm delighted to visit with you and to just be able to enjoy this conversation. Hope to talk to you again somewhere down the road.
Yeah. Could I just say my name and plug my portfolio website in case anybody out there listening could...
Absolutely.
If anybody out there listening is in the animation industry looking for a storyboard artist, my name is Luke Stankowski, but I go by Luke Ski. So my website is www.luke.ski, Luke.ski, and that's where you can find my storyboard and animatic portfolio and see my work.
Well, if something would come of this, just from you mentioning that on the show, I would be thrilled. That alone would make me happy that I took this gig. So I wish you all the best with that, and stay in touch.
All right, cool, man. You too. Have an awesome time.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Big Tom. Mishke calling. How are you?
I'm excellent, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. You can call me Shorty. Here's the thing I want to talk to you about. You texted me, letting me know your father's last words. I had done a bit on the show on people's last words, and you texted me, and along with letting me know that you wanted to be on the callers list, you let me know that your dad's last words were, I want to go, but these bitches have me tied down and I cannot get loose. Those are unusual last words. I'm never going to encounter that again the rest of my life. What on earth was happening, do you think, in his consciousness that he would say he wants to go, he wants to head to the afterlife, but some bitches have tied him down and he cannot get loose? Are those Satan's hellhounds?
What happened was he was tied to the bed because he had fallen out twice the night before. He was trying to follow somebody only he could see. And he was reaching up towards this thing that no one else could see. They were apparently telling him to come on up, let's go. And
I wonder what would happen if you left guys like that alone, because we must naturally be built in such a way that at the end we do see these things and we are tempted to follow, and we're encouraged apparently to follow, and so we start to follow, and maybe that should be allowed. I wonder what would happen if no one was around and he just was allowed to follow. What do you think?
Truthfully, I don't think it would have been a very pretty picture, because he would have probably gotten up out of the bed, and then once he reached that being, probably the body would have just given out. I think dying in a bed is better than reaching for something and then crumpling to the ground. It's a little easier transporting a body already on a bed than having to get a whole bunch of people and grab somebody up off the ground and that sort of thing.
Yes, but you're thinking of yourself, whereas I'm thinking of your father. Once he's dead, he doesn't care anymore. You guys have the responsibility of dealing with the little outfit he wore there called the human body.
True.
But he is off with this creature that came to get him. Maybe a relative, maybe an angel, we don't know. Maybe something we can't even fathom. Maybe some alien vessel climbed on board and was probed. We don't know. But what I'm curious about is, was it just a bunch of nurses that tied him down, or?
Nurses.
Boy, he wasn't feeling good about them. I think you said something to the effect when I questioned you about these last words that he was kind of an unhappy guy anyway.
Yeah. He had a pretty rough go of things, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. His life was, as far as childhoods go, he was denied a childhood, and he had a really rough time. He grew up right during the Depression, and so he had some sensibilities that were not modern by any means. And he dealt with a lot of things. He dealt with a lot of trauma, a lot of horrors, and but he's my dad.
What you're saying is he took a lot of that pain into his adulthood and ultimately into his parenting.
Oh no, he spread it around to everybody, not just his kids. In that regard, I think he was an equal opportunity kind of guy. But the fact of the matter is that on the way out, he had suffered tremendously. He was done. He was ready to just kind of get it over with. Yeah, it was something to watch this guy go from being one of the most incredibly hostile human beings on the planet to somebody who you couldn't harbor any ill will towards, because he didn't even remember who I was. He had dementia. And it's a terrible way to go out. The dementia had kicked in probably about 8 to 10 years before he passed, and it was mood swings and hostility, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's one of those things where I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I just so happened to be in town. I hadn't talked to him in years, and I drove down. I went to his house. I was just going to try to clear the air. He didn't even know who I was. And then he had to go in for surgery that next morning, and then that's when I stayed, and I was there for the end.
Wouldn't it be gratifying on some level to know, and the key here is on some level, because I think on some level this is true, on some level it was good for him that you were there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It did a lot of things for me, too. There was a moment of clarity where, he knew who I was. When he came out of the surgery, he knew exactly who I was. That was kind of a little bit of a cathartic moment.
I recently had an interview with a neurologist who talked about the extraordinary thing that happens late in life in the last couple of days, very, very near the end, where there's this illumination, this waking up, this clarity that comes to the brain, and all symptoms fade. And people who are the loved ones of the dying person both get the gift of that and feel kind of doubly hurt because they just get a taste of it before the person disappears, before they die. But it is this sense of the person being back for a little bit before they're gone, and they don't really know what's happening in the brain that's causing that.
Think of it like rebooting a computer, just before it decides to crash.
Yeah.
For that moment, you get to have, I guess, a glimpse of what could have been.
Yeah.
And I think that realistically, what we really mourn the most is the potential realities of what could have been. That's what really makes us grieve more than anything else. I had my first ambulance ride ever on Mother's Day of this year while I was unsupervised and had no one to take care of the pets or any of that stuff. And I was the only one that saw this being in the ambulance. That kind of left me a bit changed after that.
What being did you see in the ambulance?
In all honesty, I don't really understand what I saw, but it was like imagine a circle. It's like a sphere of light, and then it had points of light that came off of it, geometric patterns. And it just sat there and it was telling me, you're going to be okay. You're going to be just fine.
Do you think the "you're going to be fine" was on multiple levels? Not just physically, not just you're going to survive this emergency that has you go into the hospital. You're going to be just fine in general, cosmically.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part about it. It was like, I had this moment where it's like everything's falling apart. I may not go home. No one knows what's going on. I don't have my phone. All of this stuff. And then all of a sudden there's this thing, and it just showed up, and I could just hear it inside my head saying, you're going to be okay.
That must have been extraordinarily comforting.
Yeah. You want to talk about reassurance about the world? Yeah, I have it.
I've talked to many people over the years, many people who have reported experiences that are in this area where the common denominator is everything's fine, everything's okay, everything's going to be okay. There is nothing ultimately to worry about. There is this strange mystical message that repeats all over this globe, time and time again, with people in different situations, not dissimilar from your own, that results in this message. There is something about the cumulative effect of running into person after person after person, passing this along in different scenarios, different situations. It has an effect on me just in the sheer number of times I encounter these stories.
If I could give it to everybody, I think the world would probably be able to figure out pretty quick that we're all kind of connected. There's a certain interconnectedness that we all have on this planet. And it's just stupid to think that we don't have a place in this world. And that was kind of like, it wasn't exactly the message that I got, but it was kind of alluded to.
Tom, I'm delighted you answered the phone. I'm glad you put your name on the list. It was wonderful visiting with you.
Well, I appreciate it. And likewise, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, because it's the only thing that makes me feel like I'm actually not as weird as I thought I was when I first moved to Minnesota. I used to think I was the weirdo in the room. Nope.
Glad I can provide that service.
Take care, my friend.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. It's a Tuesday morning. You're standing in front of your business feeling like a champion when suddenly, bam-o, your pressure washer dies. Not a little sputter either. Nope, a full-on goodbye cruel world moment. Now, you could pretend you're not in trouble. You could grab a bucket and sponge, but you're a business owner, not a medieval peasant. You need power. You need force. You need American pressure. Yes, may the force be with you. American Pressure doesn't just sell pressure washers. You need your pressure washer to stop acting like it's on strike? American Pressure has a service truck that'll show up faster than Jimmy John's on meth. Thousands of parts in stock. So if your pressure washer breaks down in the middle of a busy week, American Pressure will get that thing purring like a kitten in no time. No need to panic. Call American Pressure. They'll turn your "oh no" into a "heck yeah." People talk about the Welshire as a place, a memory care place. The Welshire is a lot more than that. The Welshire is a commitment to the dignity of your loved one, to the journey of that loved one, your mother, your father, your grandparents, your spouse. It's a commitment to what matters. You see, at the Welshire of Medina and Bloomington, they've learned something important. Memory care is never one size fits all. That's why at the Welshire they've reimagined how memory care should look. 4 distinct units, each designed for a specific stage of memory care, so that your loved one is always met where they are. And the space, it's not just functional at the Welshire, it's elegant, it's thoughtfully designed, beautifully modern, equipped with everything from personalized care plans to enriching activities that bring joy and connection to every single day. There is no better place. The Welshire of Bloomington and Medina. All right, let's go to the mail. You mean email, don't you, Mishki? Shut up. I remember when I got into radio, everything was letters. I'd go to my box after finishing my show, and it would be filled with letters, cards, things I could read. I enjoyed different kinds of penmanship, sometimes encountered children's printing. Some notes would be in marker, some in pencil. Some were lovely multi-page letters. Some were just a short note in a lovely card purchased at a stationery store. Before emails, it was wildly varied what showed up in that mailbox. And they were so often so unusual. I remember the one lovely woman, middle-aged lady, who felt she could confide in me about her spanking fetish. She said she had listened to me for a long time, and much like with a lot of listeners, felt we were kind of buddies. You know, you talk to these people in this intimate late-night radio situation night after night, and people feel like you're their buddy. I got invited to weddings, to baptisms, but this letter was really quite intimate, and the woman was informing me that she was going to work with a company called Shadow Lane. I didn't know anything about it at the time, but it was some sort of a formal, professional, spanking operation for those who like a good swat and like to give one. That was about a 3 or 4 page letter that evening. Again, I used to empty my mailbox. I'd go out the door into the night air. I'd drive home. I'd open up a beer and I'd sit and read my mail. One of the more pleasurable parts of life was coming home with the mail and reading it with a beer late night before going to bed. Wonderful notes, cards, letters. Of course, now it's all email. But who cares? The important thing is it's communication. People are writing, they're telling you things. So now if you want to write, you just address it to mishki@hubbardradio.com. That's what this fella did. So here we go, a lovely letter from a listener. Hey, Mishk, it's Todd here. Please excuse me, I'm a bit of an oddball. Quirky, some would say. Others would say weird. But that's okay. It wasn't until I met my wife that I discovered I'm autistic. Heavy on the Asperger's. But it's not called Asperger's now because it turns out he was a Nazi, and the current state of what's socially acceptable has put the kibosh on calling it Asperger's. Once I learned that I'm on the spectrum, well, that answered many questions that I've had throughout my life, mostly questions of failed friendships and relationships. It also explains why I read the dictionary when I was a young boy and excelled at my studies. When I used words like pusillanimous, abstemious, or impecunious, it usually resulted in me being on the receiving end of a beating from other students. Anyway, my smarts have gotten me through life. It certainly wasn't my social skills. Oh, the stories I have along those lines. For example, years ago I took a gal on a date. We were driving in my GMC truck, and on the dash was a switch for the passenger airbag. The switch was illuminated with the words, "Passenger airbag off." I said to my date, "It shows that the passenger airbag is off, yet I can still hear you yakking." Guess how that date went? Well, look at me, I'm just rambling here. Haven't even addressed my topic yet, which is names and words. I've often thought how a person's name has fit an invention, a city, or a product. You take, for example, Washington, D.C. The name Washington has a sense of power and distinction. What if George's last name was Wettenbacher? Now, Wettenbacher isn't a bad name, but Wettenbacher, D.C. doesn't have that same panache. Then there's Henry Ford. If his last name was Kill, and I've met 2 people with that last name, would people be driving a Kill Ranger or a Kill Bronco? And tires named for Goodyear and Firestone. I don't think Flatley would be a good name for a tire. And there are other products named for people, names such as John Deere, Harley Davidson. What if the names were Glover Queensberry? I don't think it'd be good for marketing. Wasn't the fella who invented the jacuzzi named Jacuzzi? And I believe the volt as an electrical voltage was named after a guy whose last name was Volta. And if John Crapper didn't invent the flushing toilet, might we be going to the bathroom to take a Melvin Yelvington? I'll finish with Hitler. The name Hitler sounds sinister. But a couple of years ago, I read a book about the Third Reich, and the author wrote that somewhere in Hitler's lineage, the family's surname was changed from Schicklgruber. Instead of Heil Hitler, the Nazis would have been goose-stepping to Heil Schicklgruber. Not very sinister. That's all, Mishke. You've said on your podcast that listeners can offer show suggestions. Well, it may not be much, but perhaps you can work your magic with what I've written. Well, I think you've already worked the magic there, Todd. Todd closes by writing, I was raised on a farm 90 minutes north of St. Paul. We had an outhouse for the first couple of years. We took baths in a Martin galvanized tub on the kitchen floor until I was 10. That's when Dad installed a bathtub. The bathroom door was a sheet of plywood. There were 2 bedrooms for Dad and Mom and 4 kids. My brother and I slept on a hide-a-bed for several years. The door to the second bedroom was a sheet. A wood door was never installed. Summer vacation was spent harvesting corn and hay for the cows, in addition to dropping trees so that they could dry over the winter and be ready to cut for firewood the next summer, while last year's trees were cut and split for the current winter. I wouldn't change a thing, Mishke. My parents were the best and took great care of me and gave me many wonderful memories. Look at me, I'm rambling again. Thank you, Mishke. Signed, Todd. Well, I enjoyed your email, Todd. Thank you very much. Those of you who'd like to write me, Mishke@hubbardradio.com. Well, that's going to do it for this show, folks. I sure appreciate you listening. You want to text the program? The number is 651-321-8949. 651-321-8949. You want to write the program? Mishke@hubbardradio.com. Until next time, so long.